I would have liked it if Angie just straight up said, they contacted me. I thought this would be really shady. And I said, yeah, I would have loved that. Let's talk Salt Lake City reunion. You guys, I have all the notes. I have literally 3 pages of notes. And I feel like you always do a really good job of facilitating. I might not need them all, but I was like, I got to bring them because if I forget one thing, I'm going to be pissed. So.
No, it's good. It's not that I have forgotten the reunion. I had to rewatch it because I'm like, okay, what happened? So your notes are going to help spark everything. I mean, I have my little outline. Because I'm so into it, right? I'm watching as a view. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm a fan. Well, I am a fan. I need to get in the habit now. Like I watched Beverly Hills last night. And I'm like, okay. And so like I have to watch it again because now I want to watch it because I want to like live it. And then I need to watch it again. Like, okay, so I can write this. I don't miss any. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I started doing that.
Well, because to be fair, and you guys, we say this with all due respect, watching these shows is our job now. So it's like you want to watch it to enjoy it, but then you also don't want to miss something so we can discuss it. So it's a different kind of watching.
Yeah. I was like pausing it, and then I realized I'm like, okay, it's taking me like 2 hours to watch because I'm like, okay, I'm writing little. Like I literally have like I write everything.
I was telling my mom, she was reading some book, and she's like, you know, if you had $1 million and didn't need to work, would you still do your stuff? And I was like, absolutely. I was like, I podcast and I'm not paid for that. And I would definitely keep doing that. And then I was like, I want to get paid to read books. And I kind of do that, right? YouTube pays me for views and I get to read books and talk about them. And I was like, oh my God, Dom and I are going to be paid to watch TV. How cool is that?
She's like, where's my friend? I hear her voice and I haven't seen her in forever.
I know. I have a gift for your dad and apples for you.
I know. I actually bought you another gift today, so I have to see you.
All right, so we watched Salt Lake City. I am sad to see it go. Not so sad that I'm going to watch Lisa Barlow in Worst Cooks of America because...
Is that on?
Yeah, it started in January.
Oh, okay. So her episode, or she's already been on that.
Yeah, there's a couple of different teams. I haven't watched it though, but typically when the show is on, you know, you kind of are competing for whose skills improve a little bit as you're going through. Like at first you can barely boil water without burning it, and now it's like you get better.
I wonder if she's doing well.
You know, even the audition tape to be on Worst Cooks of America is pretty funny because like, oh, I burned my toast worse than you. Like it's a really
so she had a show. She had an audition to be on this?
Well, no, because this is a reality stars edition. So it's all people who are famous from somewhere. Yeah.
That is I was kind of hoping that was true because like that is so funny.
No, typically it's like, hey, Dom always hosts Thanksgiving and he's the worst cook. You're usually auditioning your friend. Like, can you please come and watch them? Because then you
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, then you do have to make your own show. They're not going to have you just pop up. They're going to be like, hey, a couple people have said you're known for not being a good cook. Do you want to come be on TV? Yeah.
Hopefully her appearance on that show is way better than her bullshit on parts 1, 2, and 3 because...
I mean, Meredith's not on the show with her, so maybe she's not even speaking. Who knows?
Did you see there was like a fake thing? I almost sent it to you till I like verified it, and it was not real. But someone kept posting like fake, like from like a fake Meredith Marks story of her telling she's departing the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and it was like this whole thing. I was like, and I went, let me go look, and I'm like, I hate people that do it because obviously it's not real.
Yeah.
First thoughts on the reunion, if I'm just being completely honest with you, are just, I'm over those two Bobbsey twins. I really am. More so Meredith than Lisa. But Lisa, don't worry. She really agitated me throughout the whole thing. Almost as much, but not quite, as Meredith. But it literally validated the thing I've been saying, I think, most of the season. And that is, I'm so over Meredith. I don't find her... not even just entertaining, but it's just like, we're going to go back up to the very beginning, and I'm convincing you, like, you should watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City with me. You've never watched a show. It's in its 6th season. You never watched it before. And if I'm trying to give you a little bit of a rundown, if I was trying to do that again, but for season 7 and say she was on the show, I would have a hard time justifying I don't know what to say about Meredith that is entertaining because I did not see it this past season whatsoever. And this reunion just validated that. And she actually really pissed me off several times throughout this reunion.
Yeah, the only thing you could possibly say is she wears nice suits at the wrong times.
We need to put that on merch or something. She wears the nicest suits, but at the most wrong time.
Like that time she came out to the pool when they were in Greece in that suit, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I mean, it was cute because it was like a super mini skirt, but it was like, girl, her sense of humor is so dry. Like,
you know what? I'll say this too. If there's anything nice, if there was one thing I had to say that was nice about her, at least about the reunion, I would say she looked stunning at the reunion. That's what I'll give her.
She did look really good, but so you guys, this was my first reunion ever. I was disappointed, but that's not really fair. Part 3 was very good because I want the meat, and that was where they started talking about everybody's relationships. Like you got Veronica's relationship, Lisa's relationship.
Yep.
She had a little miniature vulnerable moment. That was when you got to see Whitney and her husband. So part 3 was very, very good.
I agree.
But I was holding my breath through all 3 parts, waiting for the plane footage.
I know.
I really was. And I was just like, no, I missed something. Dom's going to text me when he watches the unedited Peacock version and be like, I got it.
Never came.
I mean, I still have the seat layout from where they sat on the plane on the desktop of my computer from editing these videos. And I want it so bad. But I am excited. I remember you and I talked about it, and we said if there is footage from one of the cast members, we would be so disappointed that they weren't helping, but they saw it as a moment to record.
Right.
So for that, okay, fair. Or even if, let's say you had footage and you're talking to your friends, like, should I release it? And they're like, that's so shit, because that means you didn't do anything.
Right. We find out in the reunion that they talk about the producer that we knew that was on the plane. It was almost made to sound as if the producer was like next to Meredith or like directly behind her, like in the row. And Andy had to clarify. He's like, she wasn't in the same class as you guys.
Yeah.
So, because I think that was the argument from a Lisa/Meredith argument in terms of like, why wouldn't the producer have the footage if she was sitting right behind us? And then we finally learn, by technical purposes, yeah, she was, because she was in coach. Y'all were in business class. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's example A right there of like, you are deflecting, Meredith. That's all she did throughout the whole reunion was deflect. But that really pissed me off. I'm like, you mean to tell me we've been thinking this whole time, at least ever since this stuff came out, that producer was somehow within a reasonable foot away when the girl was not even in the same section of the plane? Like that, it just irked the hell out of me.
And to be fair, I think they brought it up to also be like, if it was so bad, someone would have stopped me. And it's like, no, because again, they weren't close at all. And how about you stop yourself from being a monster because you're an adult?
Right.
Like, how about that part?
That's a good point, because I love what Angie said. She's like, if it was me, the what is the guy, like, is it the fire marshal, whatever is on the plane? Like, the air marshal would be taking me out. And I agree with her, because I think one of the arguments that they're having, if I remember correctly, was like, well, if it was so bad, why didn't Brittany do anything, blah, blah, blah. She just sat there, and Brittany has explained herself, and like, what we learn is this happened towards the tail end of the flight, like anywhere from, it sounds like from 15 to 30 minutes, whatever. They were in descent, so it seems like they were in maybe the Utah airspace or something, maybe within that region or whatever, that she almost didn't feel like it was worth it. In terms of like, I'm just going to deal with it. And maybe I think what people, and we do this very well on this podcast, we can dissect these shows, these women, in a superficial way from just a viewer and fan sense of like, we hear their words and we just go with that. We on this podcast do a very good job of, yes, we can understand that, but let's dissect it even further and try to understand like, okay, what we learn about Brittany this whole season is she clearly, has some trauma. She's made some really fucked up mistakes, but she has owned up to them. You learn, like, okay, there's clearly something there with her relationship with men that is not a healthy relationship. So when you really think about, okay, this chick is in this seat being antagonized and bullied by Meredith, it's not a far stretch to understand, like, okay, that she felt that she needed to sit in that seat and not make a scene herself. You can say she's a dodo bird a little bit here and there, and she acts out, whatever, sometimes. Yes, we already know that. However, when it comes to maybe something that's intense for her emotionally, what it could be allegedly physical in some sort of way, it's like there could be something there, at least, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, that she felt like, okay, I'm not going to cause a scene in that way. I need to sit here and almost like maybe take it in a way, and like I'll wait till I'm on the ground. I don't know, but that was my takeaway from it, because I didn't like the victim blaming or victim shaming of her. And I agree with Angie. I think her saying her statement of she might have done that, but if it was me, based upon what you did, Meredith, I would have went ballistic right back on you. And I think that should tell us part of the story of, like, if the roles were reversed and Angie was being antagonized by Meredith, she would have done something about it.
I think if the roles were reversed, Angie definitely would have. But also, I think there would have been a little bit more of the other cast members jumping in.
Probably.
Because
I agree.
typically, like, if you think about the garden party, when one gets riled up, the other one will come in. Even if it was Mary telling her she's not worth it, chill out. Like, it would have involved multiple people. If it was Whitney, Heather would have jumped in. And of course, if it was Lisa, Meredith would have jumped in. So I don't think there's,
without a doubt,
another person who could have done that on their own. Maybe Bronwyn, but again, that speaks to Bronwyn and Brittany being the two newer cast members.
Yeah.
I will say I am similar to Brittany in that I process things slowly and usually afterwards. So there is a part of me that's like, she hasn't touched me. Hopefully, if she really didn't pull her hair, they haven't physically touched me. Get through the moment. And you do get into the shell and you're just like, get through it. It's not the best, and I definitely work through it with my therapist, where she's like, you can't do that though, because now for the next 2 weeks you're spiraling because you were holding it. But you gotta remember, and part of this overanalyzing is that it's the full season we're recapping. She had just got her unicorn that was wet that they threw.
Yeah.
So she's already going through layers of stuff. You know what I mean? Yep. She's probably holding onto this unicorn. It's soaking into her clothes on the plane the whole ride. And then now you get her, Meredith, having drinks and being ramped up, and Lisa encouraging her. So there were levels to it, because she was pretty disappointed with Bronwyn and Meredith throwing that unicorn overboard. So I definitely wanted more Brittany in the reunion. I like Brittany, and so I wanted what she had on, that stunning, like, chartreuse green, whatever, stunning. And so I definitely wanted more of her. And then the fact that the reunion ended and they were still in Greece was really surprising to me, but I thought it was cute that they had Greece in the background. And so for that to have been my first reunion ever, it wasn't what I expected. I really kind of wanted it to be more of a, hey, you guys, let's watch this scene. And they put up a scene of, like, something happening, and then we all talk about it. Like, hey, Heather, what were you thinking about in that moment? And she's like, oh, da, 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 da. But I guess you don't need that, because that's why you have the confessionals, right? So I guess that's my fault. Because of this show, I really kind of had an impression in my mind of what it would be like, and that was false. And so for what it was fine, but I think I was expecting, like, a game show. I was expecting something else. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I mean, this is, like, I've said along the way, like, Housewives shows, it's all about conflict resolution. I don't coin that. Like, I'm not the first person to say that. That's kind of like a known thing amongst, like, Housewives fans, and even Housewives have said that, right? Andy Cohen has said that. And this is the part, really the home run or the Super Bowl of the season in terms of the resolution aspect. It's like, okay, the season, hopefully you see conflict resolution in episodes or maybe a few, whatever, but let's say the whole season is the conflict part, if we're generalizing. And the reunion really should be the place of reflection and resolution. It's like, okay, let's go through increments of the show. We're going to play certain scenes back, and, like, sometimes it is a little bit of, like, what was going through your mind during that or through that conversation. And then it's really supposed to be, like, explaining your actions, like what made you do that, whether it's a fight or an argument or certain words that you said. Obviously, I left going, I mean, there were very few moments where they all kind of, like, laughed as a group at certain things, like when they did the video montage of the last 6 seasons, which kind of random, but I love that kind of stuff. So I'm not mad about it. But, you know, I like that Andy highlighted, like, Salt Lake really has been a cultural phenomenon. And we haven't had that in Housewives. I really feel like, in quite a bit, I feel like back in the day, New York always had that. Beverly Hills continues to be kind of in the zeitgeist of like pop culture. Atlanta was always in pop culture. And it was kind of ended there. And Salt Lake kind of has brought in their flavor as not so newbie on the block because we have Rhode Island coming up. But they've really, there's something about Salt Lake that has really tapped into just like husbands of the wives that watch. And they're like, what is this crazy show? And it's really interesting. Even like my boss at work had moments. He was talking about his wife who puts it on, and he kind of like, I'm not saying he likes it, but it was entertaining enough for him to be like, gee, what are they saying? Like, kind of a thing. And I think that's what Salt Lake has done. So I appreciate that. But there was no resolution in terms of, it was very clear it was Lisa and Meredith versus literally everybody else. You know, Mary really tried her best
when she wasn't asleep.
Literally. Oh my
I
God.
don't think she was. Theo sits like that to my husband. He will sit with his eyes so low, and I literally
They did look,
and
yeah.
you can see them open, but for whatever reason, it just still was not engaging enough for her to be.
It was kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. But she also, like, I enjoyed watching Mary kind of come for Lisa a little bit. Because I don't, besides maybe Mary, I'm not saying Mary's not petty in any kind of way, but she does have this, like, a bite to her in certain aspects. And she's not one to argue, I would say. I mean, she's had moments throughout the years. I mean, we've seen a little bit of them in that montage, but she's not like, she ain't gonna like fight like Heather fights, right? So it was kind of an interesting thing to see her like kind of tell Lisa about herself, and I was like, I was like, okay, I loved it, and I agreed with everything that she said about Lisa. Quite frankly, I'm like, I do believe she's delusional. I really do think Mary was trying to help her in her own like way, in her very merry way, and Lisa just was not having it. And it was quite clear to me Lisa and Meredith had a pact, had an agreement. I feel like they probably had like their papers beforehand for like weeks and reviewed like, okay, you gotta say this, I say that. I mean, they kind of told on themselves. They're like, how was I? Did you know?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like whispering. I'm like, you guys are so fucking annoying. I cannot stand when it's like when they know that they're guilty of something, or they have to feel like they defend themselves, and their defense mechanism is if you and I are whispering, and so over there catches us, and I go, oh, well, I guess I can't talk to my friends ever in life, right? It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. That tells me, if that is your comeback, that tells me you know that you were whispering about us and you're trying to plot or something. Like, you were guilty.
And you know what, though? Lisa was the one that was doing that at the beginning of the season. It's like Lisa taught Meredith how to do that. Because she escalates things like that, too, where she's just like, oh, I guess I can't ever do anything again. And it always takes me back to Sex and the City, where Carrie says, I don't always do anything. And it's like, yeah, don't be so extreme, because it's not always or never. It's like, chill out. But
Agreed.
I did not understand the point of who was sitting first chair. I remember all season you've been talking to me about that. And you're like, so-and-so has first chair, and then that person has. And I was like, why? It was Bronwyn and Lisa who were sitting first chair, and I didn't get it. But when we get that video from BravoCon with Lisa talking about Bronwyn's husband.
Yeah. Come on, yo.
If I was at BravoCon and saw a huddle of people, and you walk up to it, and it's
right.
Lisa saying, can he even see his dick? His belly is so big. I would fall on the floor. I would literally pass out. But her delivery is so good.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous. Because taking Bronwyn out of it, it's something, not that I would say it, but my mouth. I say the most weirdest shit, and I think it's funny, right? But in context of this, how do you sit on that fucking couch in this whole season being kind of like you're above it all? And then this bitch brings proof to the reunion that it wasn't even like you went to other like Bravo stars. I don't know if that would be any better, but at least you can look at him as like colleague / maybe a friend. I don't know. But you went to these fans that you do not know, like a little schoolgirl, like you want to be so damn cool and revered. And it's like me going to the cheerleaders in high school, like, guess what? Like, so and so over there, that dumb bitch, like making fun of people to make yourself, look cool in some sort of way. That is the vibe that I got from Lisa, because it was so immature in so many ways, where it's just like, if you want to throw shade, that's one thing. That could have been fun, and maybe if it was about Bronwyn herself, and like shade, not like mean, but shade, there's a possibility Bronwyn was like, girl, I'm gonna watch it. Like, it could have been something funny. That was so, like, you're a grown ass woman, and again, you think that you don't live the same lifestyle as all these other chicks, and blah blah blah, and you're out here kikiing with fans about your co-star's husband's dick. Like, what is? You are weird, girl. And you, if I was caught in that moment and they showed that, I'd be like mortified and be like, you know what? That was kind of fucked up of me. And
yeah, she wasn't embarrassed.
You know what I mean?
She wasn't ashamed at all. And I feel like Bronwyn could not have done that with Lisa and John. I could see Lisa getting up and getting in her face. So
totally. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that Lisa kind of has that, because Bronwyn, I don't even know if it's that she's mature, because going into the reunion, we heard rumors that Bronwyn and Todd, her husband, have separated. So I don't know if that helped her have some detachment. I can't see Bronwyn like squaring up and brawling with someone anyway, but I can.
I kind of can. I think I can, more than Lisa.
So, but I have a note here, because you've asked me before, do I think that Lisa is jealous of Heather? I wonder if she's jealous of Bronwyn. And she's like, because she consistently goes after Bronwyn. Even though Bronwyn and Lisa have talked multiple times and they've said, we're not going to talk about each other's families. You know, they have their own history, because Lisa knows Bronwyn's kid's father or something.
The kid's father's like parents is who she has a relationship with them. Yeah.
So I either feel like maybe she's a little bit jealous, or maybe it's something that's off of the show. Because for this to have been Bronwyn's second season, Lisa is like really either intimidated, or she really makes a beeline. Like, she targets Bronwyn pretty hard. And so I don't think I noticed that throughout the whole episodes until we got to the reunion. And I was like, she has had a lot of moments with her, like a lot of them.
I love that point of view, especially with not knowing any of the background in terms of seasons prior. Because here's the thing, Lisa was her in on the show. So when we met Bronwyn last season, it was as Lisa's friend.
What?
So with everything you just said, which I think is so poignant and so correct, because I agree with all of that, add that into the mix of like, it wasn't like Bronwyn came on the show as Lisa's friend. And she was like, this is my friend Bronwyn. She's fabulous. She wears couture, blah, blah, blah. So to your point, I would agree that if this is our only evidence, if I'm basing, if we're in the court of law, and the question is Lisa Barlow jealous of Bronwyn Newport? And this is what I had to go by, I would say, yep, I think so. All signs point to she is probably both jealous and intimidated by Bronwyn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I have two more things here for part one, and then we can get into part two, which was it kept getting warmer and warmer and warmer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it got warm. It was better. Yeah.
Yes. So we have Angie and her Arby's commercial. We get to talk about that, and they ask her if she did that as a direct response, kind of, to Lisa, who does Wendy's commercials. We love Wendy's. It is a Ohio-based company.
I know.
Fresh, never frozen.
Fresh, never frozen.
But I thought that was so funny, because I don't know if this is a fair statement. I need the next reunion to be like a TikTok live. I don't want it to see it scripted. I don't want to see it edited. I want to see y'all, like, for real, your impression or your reaction. Yeah. Because Angie said all the right things, but it may have been edited that way. And Lisa got upset just enough, but it may have been edited that way, right? And so I think I kind of want to see, like, the realness to it. But during the season, we saw Angie's commercial for Arby's, and you and I collectively were like, yes. And so we didn't get to have that moment at the reunion because we've already seen it. And I'm like, damn it, social media.
Here's the thing. Lisa's reaction was very Lisa and stayed, if nothing else, she's been consistent I mean, I don't agree with it, but at least she's been consistent. When that question then was asked to Lisa of like, do you think, blah, blah, blah. And she basically said, and actually she did say, and I'm paraphrasing that, well, I'm glad that you all, I mean, how did she say it? Basically, like, if it wasn't for Lisa doing her endorsement deals, they wouldn't have endorsement deals. And it's just like, girl, what? So and I can't remember who said it. They're like, okay, so if we do, gosh, if someone does, we have Angie doing Arby's, maybe Heather will do Sonic, and Whitney will do Taco Bell. So like, if they get that, it's solely because Lisa Barlow can do endorsements, and because of that, we should bow down to her. Like that really just, I mean, it's not shocking because it falls consistent with her whole MO of like, remember, she lives a much different lifestyle than everybody else. But that really irked me. If I said something like that, because I'm like, okay, well, I do endorsement deals for this clothing company. Now you're doing one. You should thank me because without me, you wouldn't have that. Like, that is so gross.
It is very gross. I did not like that she said it, even though it was felt very true to her. Right. It was very on brand for her. So that was one part that I really liked because almost everyone but Meredith rallied to be like, what are you talking about? Angie has definitely had stuff before you. Are you trying to say I got my book deal because of you? And to your point, if you live a very different life than us, how are we all benefiting from your life that you quote unquote have? So that was one of the times where they're just like, what are you talking about? Angie's had Kerastase forever. She's done this. She's done that. Like, none of this is about you.
And she introduced Lisa to Kerastase.
I would have liked it if Angie just straight up said, they contacted me. I thought this would be really shady. And I said, yeah. I would have loved that.
I mean, I would have too. And I was surprised that she didn't, quite honestly.
The business of the Housewives, where I've made a list of all the Housewives that have books because I'm a book person. So I was like, oh, I got to read these. They got cookbooks. They got all kinds of stuff. You have candles that they have. They've got merch, of course. Housewives are a business.
You're one of them.
Yeah. Housewives are a business. And so I can imagine that they get approached all the time. What if that was just the fifth vendor and everybody that's like, you want to do a Greek salad or this or that? And then they're like French fries. And she's like, oh, just like, hell yeah. So I thought it would have been a really funny moment if she would have just owned it and been like, yeah, I actually did. In fact, we have a little coming out, right? Like, I thought that would have been great. But I don't know. When we started the show, remember the first episode and it was the RV trip and Lisa wasn't there because she was off being her fabulous self. And you told me, because I was like, I'm excited for this Lisa. Who is this Lisa? And you're like, you'll see her and then you'll wish you didn't see her. Yes, that has rang true. So I feel like the audience probably comes around to see what Lisa is doing. So she was a part of the magic. She's been a part of the cast.
I agree. I do. I agree with that.
I mean, when I think about the way that Angie went after Brittany for that trademark comment, I just wanted way more. I just wanted
same energy.
$10? What do you want for my Arby's money? I just needed some more heat in the way that she gave it to Brittany, and we didn't get that.
I wish she said something in terms of like, you know what? I was a little shady, and by the way, I'll have some like DoorDash to your house or something, like something like that. Like, I'll make sure you get your curly fries and your beef and cheddar. Don't you worry, girl. Like, I would have loved a little shadiness. And Lisa, shut up. Just shut up. I just want to just shut up. That's what I want to say. I say like maybe parts 1, 2, and 3. I just want to be like, shut up. Just shut up already.
So I feel like Lisa and Meredith sat down and watched the whole season together and like apologized for everything for every episode because
agreed.
Lisa has said some shit about Meredith. And you keep telling me about this pact they have and how she told her, you slept with everyone in New York City, how they probably have dirt on each other. But I definitely feel like they sat down as the Bobbsey twins that they are and was like, oh man, that was a hard episode. It was, but they didn't show you this part where I said XYZ. I really think that they worked it out on their own, forgave each other on their own. And I think that they're actually friends. And that part was okay to see because I remember watching it and I was like, are these people friends or are they colleagues? I really do think that Lisa and Meredith are friends, whether or not it started in a toxic place. I actually do think that they are friends because they both said some shit about each other and they both were like so united at the reunion. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you could pay me for that. I think they actually are like loyal to each other as friends in a weird way.
I think they are playing this show. They're taking a note, I think, out of Trump. And here's why I say that. It's because I feel like, okay, they have messy past. They've done shit, fought. They've had periods of time where they didn't talk, and they know that they were wrong about things that they said to each other. Okay, great. Bad behavior. Arguably, they all had bad behavior, but we're talking about them. The reason why I say that is, for some reason, and it's very prevalent this particular season, especially towards, I think, the second half, and of course, the end of the Greece trip, and into the reunion, they took a page out of Trump, because now it's almost like they have their notebooks, probably have their teams, whatever, they watch it. Okay, you say this, I'm going to say that. But they want to appeal so hard to the minority for some reason of the viewers. And what I mean by that, I don't mean minority in cultural sense. I mean, okay, 10% of the viewers of the show love us. We're going to appeal to them instead of the majority that are the happy people that are clearly on the other girl's side. But we are so in this together that now we cannot go backwards. So let's continue this ride. And we're going to be annoying and whisper. We'll disengage. We'll deflect. We're going to be each other's ride or dies. We're going to be so blindly loyal to each other. I agree that they're probably friends. But instead of having, like separating church and state with one another and be like, okay, Meredith, girl, you're my ride or die. I love you so much, but you did have moments you acted pretty unhinged throughout the season at certain points. That would be a bridge too far. So again, it's like they took the page out of Trump, have blind loyalty to each other, and they're going to appeal to the smaller percentage of viewers that like them, but somehow are the most loudest. Because I'll tell you, they think Lisa and Meredith are mother. Oh my God, DJ, Vita Tequila, they are mother. They don't give a shit. They show everyone what's up. No, they don't. And I don't know what the fuck show that y'all are watching that you think they are bad bitches. They ain't. They ain't. They talk in circles. They take Andy's points and say certain words that he says and reuse them as their answers to sound, I don't know, I guess intelligent. It ain't working. Listen, I agree with what you just said. Lisa is a part of the magic of the show, which is why I would like to see her on the show. But now I want to see her without Meredith. And I said that like several episodes ago, and I still stand by that I'm ready to see her fly solo without someone that's so up her fucking ass, and vice versa. So I think that's what they do. I think they are so gung-ho and appealing to a smaller sect of the show that just happens to be much louder. Why? I will never understand that thought process. That's my opinion, whether it's true or not, whatever. If this is the court of public opinion and that's the evidence, that's what I see. And I find it very annoying because I agree with you. They plotted this reunion and how they're going to do it. They gave themselves away, asking, did I say this right? Did I miss anything? It's like, I don't know. Go in the mirror and ask yourself that. You don't need to ask Meredith Marks.
I know. And I love that the editors left that part in because, to be fair,
too.
I hope they look at it and someone talks to them and they're like, you guys, it was really boring. You guys were very boring. There was no spontaneity. There was no authenticity. Like, I felt like Meredith was even more of a robot than she typically is. I feel like she prepared 5 answers and that was it. And the rest of it, she was going to say, I plead the fifth. I have nothing to say.
And her way, she did.
Yeah, and it was very boring to watch. But when Brittany comes out and she's talking to her and she's like, well, your nail tech is anti-Semite.
Oh my God.
So that was answer 4, and you said you can't get off the couch until you go through all your answers. Girl, what are you doing?
That's a good point. Before we even get to that, I think it's worth noting too about Meredith. Starting right out the gate of the whole reunion, Andy asked her a question. I can't remember what it was, but she paused that to confront Whitney about some drunken shit that she said at BravoCon. And Whitney, you just saw her, she's like, I already apologized about this. A theme here. point being, you are starting off already a question that was, and again, I don't know what the question was, but it was a Meredith question to answer about herself. And you start out from the fucking beginning talking about, like, before we get to that, why did you have to do, why? Why is that how you needed to start and set the tone for the fucking day? Asking Whitney some bullshit that we didn't even see. Like, no offense, I could have lived without even knowing any of that. I could care less what Whitney was drunk doing. I really don't give a fuck. I really don't.
Could care less. It was only, I have a feeling she thought we were going to talk about her alleged alcoholism, drug abuse, and so she had to have that statement prepped.
Right.
And it never came up.
Totally. That's a good point.
And that's the thing, it fell flat, and that's where you coming in with rehearsed answers aren't going to work, because
yep.
Andy is a live person asking questions that either, the audience asked or if different fans have asked, and then he's mentioning stuff on his own. Mm-hmm. It's not an opening statement in court. Like, you need to be responsive to the questions that are asked. Girl, wake up.
Yeah, and she is a trained lawyer. Like, remember, she went to... So it's almost like...
Yeah.
I was like, what did you pick from that? That's actually really funny. That's not an opening statement. Because that's exactly what she did. It was like, you just... went right over your head that you were just asked a question, and you used that time to go after Whitney, who's at the end of the couch, like, what the fuck did I do? What? Yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, she's so annoying, motherfucker, man.
No, she is. And for a new person watching, it came off as, like, disrespect to Andy. Because it's like, well, if I'm not going to answer his questions and he's the host of this whole thing, it's like, oh, was this Meredith's show? Oh, I missed that. So, my last thing about part one... Andy says, what's wrong with sucking your husband's dick? I don't... He was
Gout
so
dick, remember? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This was a conversation between Lisa and Bronwyn. Lisa was trying to say, like, all you do is get money for, having sex with your husband.
Right.
And I have already said on here, okay, who cares? Like, if you're not with someone to increase your life, I mean, you love them, of course, but, like, if they're not bringing anything else, like, just be single. And so Andy gets to the heart of it, and he's like, what's wrong with sucking your husband's dick?
Yeah. Well, let's be specific. She said gout dick, too, which, okay. Like, I guess that is a thing. But, like...
Maybe she
wants
Todd.
That whole conversation started.
She's obsessed with Todd.
They mess with Todd a lot, and I mean, not that I support that, but I don't like Todd, so I'm not, like, also emotionally affected by it either. However, there is something to be said for, I'm like, okay, he ain't on this show, he's not a cast member. Like, if you're gonna throw blows at your castmate on here and leave it at that. And I agree with, pay your legal bills. How about that? Pay your bills. To that point, I can't remember if it's in part one or I think it's part two, where they talk about she gets mad at Heather for not understanding her business. You don't know my...
That's disgusting. How do you not? You get to my parties, and they showed a clip of it from, like, 2011, 2017 or something, and I was like... And
that picture of her and Ben Affleck, was it Ben Affleck? It was like...
I think it was, like, and he's standing next to her. He's not touching her at all. They don't look familiar at all. It's like we bump into him at Dunkin', and we're like, can I have a picture? He's like, sure.
And after that aired... He, I think he's in a movie or something. He was doing a press for a movie, and they asked him about it. And he's like...
sent me the clip. And he was being very nice, because it was him and Matt Damon. And he's like...
Yeah, he was being nice.
Meet her at something. He was being very, very... I meet a lot of people, I think... And the lady, the interviewer, was harping. She was like, but to be fair, you do not know her. Her number's not in your phone. You are not friends. Like... Mm-hmm.
It was funny, but what a weird...
It would have been embarrassing. For Lisa, it was just another day. I'm sure she didn't care, but...
That was actually all of a weird conversation of the timeline between that, her businesses, being in Florida with no makeup on, and I was trying to understand it all. But I will say, when it comes to the Lisa of it all and her businesses, I was watching a video of people doing deep dives, like going to her website where all her businesses are listed, some of which don't even have websites anymore. I'm just going to put that out there. There's several businesses listed there. Because I think you can, I know you can, I know every state is obviously different, where you can look up, not the trademark, but you can look up, like, filings and all that kind of stuff to see, like, what businesses, like, who owns what and all that. and some of them are not really like connected to her and her name. There was one I think that was connected to her husband. Needless to say, it's all shady. Heather answered it correctly, and when she said, "If you want to talk about Beauty Lab or just the whole beauty, well, I can tell you everything about like I can." Again, deflection and like word salad. Lisa, you still have not give us much except for this Lux marketing, but which sounds it sounds like sketchy and weird that she doesn't even own anymore. Because I swear she said that she started it with the Bella twins, which so randomly they were on that WWE show. I'm like, okay, never heard of that till just now. And it sounded like you sold that, so you don't even own that. So I don't even know why we're talking about. Like, she made no sense in terms of her businesses. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
I was confused too. She started talking, and then I feel like she started to hear her lawyer and was like, I can't say anything. All of this is going to hurt me. Because she started walking it back so bad. And Lisa's a hater. She's a hater. If I've earned money from Wendy's, you can never earn money doing anything else. If I threw one party for Daniel Radcliffe back when Harry Potter was a big deal, you cannot ever say you've never been to my events before. Like, she is, I wanted to say she's a gargoyle because she's stuck in time. It's not 2017. Daniel Radcliffe is a comedian now. He's a full adult. I'm serious.
She's going on. I don't know why you would think that you couldn't do these kind of shows because you just threw so much shade in like 30 seconds, and I have not stopped laughing. Even like you threw Daniel Radcliffe parties with Harry Potter. That was so funny.
I'm just saying, even when you think about her answers with her husband, and she's like, "We're fine," and he's like, "We were a long time ago." She can't move forward. She's like stuck. She's literally frozen. And it's really sad because I think she's going to miss out on a lot because her character is so ugly on the show. And I have to say her character, because I don't know if that's really her, right? We're only seeing a little bit. But it's so ugly on the show. And it's like Andy ends up walking off, which
I don't blame him.
I was waiting for them to be like, wow, he hasn't done that in a long time. You said he's never done that. So even through the Atlanta reunions, even through the New York reunions, Beverly
Jersey,
Hills, those get crazy, and he's never had to walk off. But Lisa literally would not stop talking. And he literally was like, I'm going to go. And he literally walked off. And I was like, oh no. I felt so bad.
That would drive me insane too, especially that whole conversation. Every answer is vague. That's the thing. Everything that was coming out of her mouth was vague. And maybe once in a while there was a glimmer of detail just to what I'm imagining in her brain. It's, I'm going to give enough to make someone believe, like, oh, well, she did say such and such or whatever. It's enough. She thinks it's enough maybe to, well, it worked. It confused me. But all she did was, it was just like, you're recycling the same sentences and the same narrative, and everything is so vague to begin with. And going back to even when Heather, it's like, explain to me what you do. I don't know what you do. The reaction, it was like it was as if Heather said, I just kicked your dog and threw him in the trash or something. It was just like, what the fuck was that reaction? Like, if I own a business and you don't know like what it is, even though like, okay, we're close and you don't know my business, okay, let me tell you, because that's fucking weird that you don't know, but here it is. Like, again, that is a reaction of someone that is guilty and does not have anything else to say.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna be like, have the most most dramatic reaction. I'm like, how dare you? As if that's the most hurtful. Like, she didn't criticize you. She said, I don't know what. Tell me what your business is. How is that it's very weird, is what it was.
It's very weird, and I don't know what a lot of my friends do. I barely know what my husband does. I always tell people he builds websites. And he's like, I'm a product owner. And I'm like, but your product is the website for a company, right? Aren't you building websites? So, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a requirement of a friendship. It's not a requirement of being vulnerable with someone and understanding them to know what they do. Because the Salt Lake City reunion has happened since Beverly Hills is on, she was giving Amanda Frances grifter.
Oh, I knew that's where this was going.
And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me what I did, first thing I would tell you is I'm a storyteller. Oh, tell me more. Oh, I tell stories with podcasts and blogs and you know what I mean? Video book reviews. Well, I have Lux Marketing, and so we do this, and I'm like, okay, it's short for luxury or what? Nope. You just keep talking. Oh well, and then I have this tequila, which my friend Dom has told me does not taste good. Okay, so ma'am, it sounds like the one thing you have going is your Wendy's partnership that you're upset that somebody else is making money from. Like, be happy you have any money coming in and chill out. Like, please.
I think Lisa told herself that she is part robot because that whole thing where she just sat there and like blinking, like, and Heather, and I think it was like Heather and Andrew, like, is she moving? Why is she doing that? And she's like, well, I think she's blinking. That was, it, not only was it hilarious, but it was like, what the fuck? It was weird. But when Andy asked Lisa, like, either on the boat or on the beach, I can't remember exactly where it took place, but Mary had Lisa's side, like it was really sticking up for her. And Andy asked Lisa, like, did you, I can't remember how he said it, but like, did you appreciate like Mary like defending you? And then silence, and Mary goes, she doesn't even know what you're talking about. And she still couldn't even, and she's like, oh, and you knew, you could see it in her eyes, she's like searching for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, what
she's
was
like,
that?
I didn't prepare
I
that.
fully believe that. Yeah. Exactly. It was not in her notebook. It was not in her journal and her planning, meeting with Meredith. Like, oh fuck, we forgot one. And how?
And it was so sad. It
was because it was authentic. Mary's like, she don't know what you're even talking about. And thank God she kind of laughed. Mary laughed it off because that would have hurt my feelings if I was like defending you and you were like, when did you do that? I'm like, are you fucking serious? Because you could have watched TV and figure it out. It wasn't like it's that hard.
Well, they did watch TV, and I'm sure they saw it, but it wasn't that important to them. And that was exactly what was portrayed.
And that's all you need to know about her. Yeah.
It was. And
that's all you need to know. It did not mean anything.
Yep. And then that's when Mary goes, she's like, you're very dark, Lisa. You're very dark. In part 2, this is when Andy wants us to catch up on what's going on with Mary, and she does get a chance to talk about her son being in jail. Yeah. And as heartbreaking as that is, she's like, it's his story, but she's like, I know he's safe there. I know he can't harm himself. And I was like, I had never thought about it like that.
That's deep. Yeah. Yeah. I respect that because I guess, like, I mean, again, it's not an experience that I can relate to. I can understand that actually of like, well, you think about it, in jail, they got shelter, they get food. Doesn't mean it's great, but they have food there and they don't have access. I don't know enough about jail, like how people like get drugs in there, but generalizing, you're not in those kind of crowds, not in those same routines where it's easy to fall back into. So her saying that, like, damn, like that hits something. Like the only way, maybe peace of mind that you can have in terms of your son's like health in that way is like, mom has to be incarcerated. Damn, what a journey to get there. And I was like, I respect that because I get it.
I felt sad on a couple of levels because she said that his ex-wife, like, he's getting divorced, so they're separated, and she put out like a restraining order type of thing. And so I was like, oh, that's your daughter-in-law though, so now you guys have a strained relationship as well. And so there's a whole bunch of levels. I'm like, dang, they got married. And so I was like, okay, she's got a lot of stuff going in this one thing. So
it was sad because you don't want that. I mean, that is something I would say. There's an episode last season where this all came to light, that it was probably one of the most raw pieces of television in terms of Housewives that we've ever seen. Like collectively, like the Bravo, like community and fandom all rallied around Mary in that moment. She was having a conversation with her son then, and him talking about very much authentically and raw and organically about his, substance abuse. And there was like no like it was like even like the way that it was shot, it was almost like, okay, we should capture this because it's a very raw moment. Like it's a very moving scene. Now that you've seen this kind of part of it, it's like maybe full circle. Like if you watched it, it's riveting in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that like, oh yay, it made me cry. I was like, oh my God. And then I love Housewives. We've seen some sad shit here and there, but I've never like cried in an episode. Because you just saw a mom and her kid, and what she's trying to convey to him in that moment, it was just, it's very raw and deep. So I can see where it comes from.
Yeah.
And so I hope he's, I think he's out of jail now. I think I saw recently. So I hope he's doing better and is, doing the best that he can,
Yeah. In the reunion, they talk about how Heather has a chapter about Mary in her book. Have you read that? Is it about church or is it about parenting?
I don't remember. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think it's about parenting. I think it was in part 1. I think all talked about who do you think changed the most, blah, blah, blah. I think Mary volunteered. I think I have. And it is true. Like, Mary, like, in the beginning of the series, is not the same Mary in terms of she is a lot more engaged and more focused on bringing people together, which you saw, like, she tried on this episode and it failed with Lisa, not because of Mary, because of Lisa and Meredith. That I would agree with that. So it's really about kind of her as a human being and like the influence that she has. It does feel like she's very like she really tries to ground everybody to find common ground of like, okay, how do we keep the shit moving forward instead of going backwards each time? Because they seem to always find them, or at least some of them try to, find themselves doing that. But I think Heather's always looked up to Mary in a lot of ways, and that's quite evident.
Yeah.
Though there was one, I can't remember what season it was. I think it was when Mary came back as a friend, and they showed it in that montage that Heather went to her house, and I think she was writing her first book. It's actually one of my favorite clips, because Mary said that Heather looked inbred because of Mormons and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the scene goes, Heather asks Mary, she's like, do you think I look inbred? And Mary goes, I do. The way she's it is just gold. And I think she's apologized for it since or something like that. I can't remember. But I think Heather's always looked up to Mary in a lot of ways.
Oh, that's funny.
How do you also feel about? I think it was in this conversation too. I think at least in part 2, when Andy tries bringing up the documentary about Mary that's out there.
Yeah.
And she didn't really. I mean, I think all she said was something like, "The truth always comes out." I can't remember what she said. It wasn't. She didn't go into detail about anything, but
yeah, I don't believe they cared for it, the documentary at all. I don't think that they.
Oh, I don't think they would. Yeah.
I don't think that they believe that it is the truth. And so, one thing about Mary, she's not defensive, and I say that because
correct.
If you don't care for me, she doesn't take that as her job to make you care about it, and I 100%. Like that. Mm-hmm. She has like a matter of factness where it's just kind of like, it's not harsh. It's just like, that's fine. And I really do think she doesn't think about it again. So
I agree.
I would have liked to hear more, but I think she shut it down in a way, and Andy was like, oh, we're talking to a brick wall. We're not getting anything. So,
well, that's a great point. I mean, really think about it. I mean, just this season alone, like, if you just said, like, I don't like that you're doing that, she's like, not your problem. Okay, that's me. Like, those are her, like, she lives within her truth and like, I commend that. Or she doesn't feel like she has to defend her actions. She doesn't have to go, oh, well, I did this, and like, but how about you do this? But I try to do this, and then but here's the thing, I was also going through this at that time. She doesn't do any, if you don't like it, then you got to figure that out. That's not about me. I'm okay. Yeah. Like, we can all take a few notes from that, I think, because I certainly could.
Yeah, she's not an oversharer, but then she's also not like fake or phony at all. Because I'm like, she's not overly emotive, but then you can tell when she cares. Like, you can see that when she's with Angie. I think she has probably spent a lot of time with herself. I think she really knows herself. She spends a lot of time with herself, and I think she really knows, like, I have a life outside of this show. And I think it's a really good, like, relationship she has with it all. I think it's really good. I will say, I don't think she gets
agree with that
from church. Church definitely made me very, like, overly performatively nice. And, like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Like, I'm selfless. I don't exist. She didn't get that part. So, kudos to her.
Yeah. So you think it's, like, inherently in her?
It could be. And you've mentioned it to me before. She was on what, season 1, and then left and just recently came back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that's a bit of it too.
She left after season 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I could
Probably. That's a good
imagine.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, okay, of course, I've been alive before the show. Then I was on the show, but there has to be a reason you guys asked me back, so I'm gonna be myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
So
Yeah, I agree.
in part 2, they bring out Brittany Bateman, and we're like, yay, it's Brittany. Okay, let's go. And the question was, Meredith, why didn't you ever apologize to Brittany for what happened on the airplane? And she says, we've talked since then. Remember, we talked because your nail tech is anti-Semite. And everybody in the room says, no, we're talking about the airplane. Everyone is collectively like, that's not what we're talking. And she's like, we've talked. And you're like, okay, what happened? Frustrating.
Well, actually, though, remember, even worse, is Andy asked her, they're talking about the plane. He has, well, Meredith, did you have a drink before the plane? And that's when she says, I have to talk about this. Her dramatic, I have to talk about this. And then comes in this whole thing about, well, Brittany got her nails done by the same guy that did Meredith's nails. That just happened to come out at some point that he was an anti-Semite. But Brittany didn't know that. And this guy apparently asked her to write reviews because he was getting bad ones. And let's be honest, Brittany is a dodo bird. We love Brittany, but she is not. I don't think she's dumb. I don't think that. But she's just kind of. I think she's just like sees like sunshine and rainbows a lot more than And quite frankly, I wish I was too more these days. And she did all this, but when she found, and it has been proven, at least definitely by now, when she found out about them, she apologized, took them down. Now, granted, let's have a disclaimer here. Her boy toy, whatever he is, Jared, also left comments and has not taken them down. Now, I don't like that, and she's with him still, so I don't know all that shit's about. But if we're talking about her, to her point and to her defense, that happened apparently at that said RV trip that she was defending Lisa and all this kind of stuff, and they had to have a mediation, it sounded like, of some sort of conversation, and long story short, she apologized, they made whatever, and they moved on. So why the fuck this is all coming out at the reunion? And especially when the question was about, girl, did you drink on that airplane before you like beat the shit out of her? Allegedly, and not really, I'm just being funny. But, and again, and what was that? Deflection at its finest. Like, you didn't answer a question that was directed at you, so you tell this whole story about some nail tech being an anti-Semite, which we condone. That we know that is horrible, bad, no way, no place for any of that. But from where you're coming from, it almost seemed as like, okay, you're weaponizing like your faith a little bit to not answer a question about you. That's how it came across to me. Maybe that's offensive to some, because I don't condone any of that behavior at all. But I don't think that's not where this needed to fall into place, to have this conversation, especially if it was already taken care of.
Yes, because it was already taken care of, I think it was disgusting because she only brought it up to make Brittany look bad and to make her look insensitive. I do appreciate that Brittany said this has been resolved. I felt terrible when I found out. Somebody mentions, but wait, Meredith, you still go to that nail tech, or you use the nail tech too, or something. So there was that part, but like,
yeah, she did.
Brittany, sweetie, you are on a nationally syndicated TV show. You can't be giving away your attention and your reviews and your comments just for a free set of nails. You can't. Your attention is very important.
Be smarter.
Even down to your comments, even down to who you are going to see. And if you don't want to live with your life under a microscope, get an agent who will do that for you. Who says, oh, what a great offer. Let's look into it. Everything that is free is not for you. And if you need to own that now. If you want to be on the show full time, and we would love to see you be a full-time cast member, you have to acknowledge that you are not living the same life. We got to step it up. And again, you can stay rainbows and unicorn stuffies, but you need to hire people around you who will watch for that kind of stuff, because you can't be doing this for a free set of nails. You can't.
Yeah, she needs to be smarter about all of this. She needs to be a lot smarter. And again, it's not okay. We don't tolerate that. They shouldn't tolerate that. That is hatred and bigotry at its finest. But you got to be smarter, girl. And you need to ask questions like, okay, like if we're famous and people like, hey, trading services for endorsements or whatever, trading services if I promote your stuff, that is pretty common in this kind of line of work. I understand that, but you can't just blindly say yes without knowing like who's asking me and like what. Let me make sure. Let me vet you, and then I'll tell you yes or no. And she needs to start doing that.
She absolutely does. And I mean, Meredith's a lawyer. She might have some referrals for you for agents and stuff.
No, I don't think she's helping her out anywhere.
I know. All right, you guys. This was the review of part 1 and 2 of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion, and we will be back with part 3. And what I want to do, I haven't told Dom this, I want to give some predictions for season 7. Yes. So, all right, you guys. And I was like, why is it so quiet?